Good evening. A warm welcome to Medlink Students. We're really excited to have you join us this evening. So a few things. Tonight, we'll be discussing some of the advantages of studying abroad. We'll go through how it all really works. We'll talk about some of the options that are available to you. We'll also talk about the experiences that some of the students have had. Now, without further ado, let's get started. But first, let me introduce myself. Now, I'm Edmund. I'm one of the student advisors here, Medlink Students. My work over the years has been really guiding and supporting students throughout their journey, medicine or dentistry. I've helped thousands and thousands of students begin their path of becoming doctors and dentists, and some have successfully returned to their home country or even in the UK and are working. Now, we are joined tonight by some of our specialist advisors who will be talking during the webinar. Now, you're already familiar with me. Some of you have spoken with me. And you also have my colleague, Tom. You also have my colleague, Dana, who's one of the student advisors. Now, a few things that we'll be discussing is who we really are, some of the benefits of studying abroad, the current state of the medical and dental education in the UK, really what it's like to study in Europe, what are some of the tuition fees and living costs, and this is something we get asked quite a lot, and then also the admission requirements. Now, we'll also go over the best medical and dental schools that are out there, where you can really use these degrees, and how we can help you. There will also be some time for some Q&A, because we know you will have a lot of questions, be sure to write them in the Q&A section of the Zoom during the presentation. You'll be able to see the location of that feature on the screenshot. And you'll be able to upvote some of the questions, existing questions that you find interesting. Now, we'd love to also know where you guys are all joining us from. So if you could all, in the Q&A section as well, just either type in the country where you're from, or just use the emoji flag. That'll be fine. It's just something we wanted to do tonight, just to see where everyone else is joining us from. Now, with every successful story, you will often find someone that has embarked on a courageous journey. And to tell you more about who we are, I'd like to invite my colleague Osman, who's here tonight, to talk to you about really our story and our journey. Osman? I think Osman's having technical issues joining us. So to tell you a bit more about our story, I'd like to invite my colleague Tom to share with us, share with you guys our story. Tom, are you there?
Yes, no problem, Edmund. So, hi everyone. I hope you're ready for a fantastic webinar. We've got quite a few students that are eager to talk towards the later part of the webinar as well. So we'll get along and then we'll be able to ask them a lot of questions and get some really good insight from them. So, who are Medlink students? This is something that we get asked quite a lot. So, Medlink Students was actually started by people in a very similar position to you, if not exactly the same. So many, many years ago, these were students that were actually based out of the UK, and they'd been trying to get into medical school in the UK, and they just hadn't been able to meet these really hard requirements and get the huge amount of luck that's required in order to get that place in the UK. So they decided, you know what, let's see if we can get in abroad. Now, back when they started, this wasn't a very popular thing, and not hardly as many students as what you see today actually did this. But they decided, we're going to try it, we're going to try our best. And they really struggled through the whole application process, the legal work, translating documents to the local languages, trying to sort out visas, get ready for entrance exams. They didn't know what to expect. But one way or another, with perseverance and dedication and just pure passion for study, they managed to get through and get their place. What they realized at this point, looking back on their success, is this was really tough, and it shouldn't be this hard for people that are that dedicated and that passionate to study medicine to get a place. So in order for them to help, they started Medlink Students, and the aim is to support and help other students that are able to then have an easier process of going to study abroad and pursuing their dream, just the same way that they did. And that's how it all started. Little bit about me now, as you can see on the screen. So I'm a senior student advisor here at Medlink. I've helped over 2,000 medical students to find their universities, and I've been doing this for a few years now. So going on from there, let's have a little look at our team. So our team consists of, as you can see here, doctors. So as I mentioned before, they're the ones that really started this all off, and they're the ones that oversee everything and make sure that everything is maintained at the level that it needs to be for all of our students. We've then got advisors like myself and Edmund that you've seen already. We're the ones who are the experts in the different locations and the different universities. So when you have a conversation with us, we can help you to find the right university and the most suitable one for you. Then you've got our dedicated admissions teams. So they work specifically with different countries and different universities, so that once you start an application, you will be working with a team that have got years of experience with that particular university and their procedures, because they are all completely different. So it's good to have that team behind you to support you and build your file. And then, of course, you've got our on-ground support as well. So they're the team that will help you once you get there. We'll go into a bit more detail into this later on in the webinar. But just to carry on, let's talk about a few benefits of studying abroad from my colleague, Dana. Dana, go ahead.
Thank you, Tom. Hello, my name is Dana, and I'm a senior advisor. I speak to many students to guide them to choose the best universities suitable for them. And today I wanted to share with you, from speaking to hundreds of students, I got to know what students love about studying abroad. Now, there's many advantages to discuss. However, we're going to discuss the main points. One of the advantages students like about studying abroad is that the universities that you study in are fully taught in English language, and the degree is globally recognized. So you can study in English and you can get a degree that qualifies you to go back to your home country or to Europe or anywhere you'd like to work. In addition to the flexible requirements, that's a really amazing part of Europe, is that many students come to us that they don't have A's, or they don't have 3 sciences or 4 sciences. And in their home country, it doesn't qualify them to study medicine. So with us, in Europe, it's a bit flexible. Whatever you have, you can get on a call with an advisor and we can guide you to find the best option to study medicine. Plus, of course, the affordable tuition fees that students enjoy. Many students can't afford to study for thousands of pounds, so you have affordable tuition fees and the high quality of education that you get there. In addition, of course, to the possibility to apply to more than one option. So in Europe, you can apply to more than one university, and you can enjoy the international community you have there, the diversity of students. Europe attracts students from all over the world. So you meet students from Asia, Russia, Africa, UK, Australia, USA. It's very diverse and exciting. And it qualifies you to return back home, work as a doctor, and successfully register with your medical council. And of course, we're not gonna forget the modern facilities that you can experience medicine and dentistry to the fullest, enjoying the experience with great doctors, great facilities, and the less competition. That's a very important point that we need to discuss today, and I think we're going to discuss it later on with my colleague. However, in Europe, it's less competitive, so you get to apply and you have a higher chance to be accepted. So many students get the opportunity to study in Europe when they don't get accepted in their home country. Back to you, Edmund.
Thanks, Dana, for explaining some of the great reasons why more and more students are choosing to study abroad. Now, the UK, as we're from, is becoming competitive every single year. We see this quite a lot. I speak with students that have 3 A's, 2 A stars and an A, and they still can't get in. And to tell you a bit more about the current state of the education system, I'd like to invite back my colleague Tom to kind of give you an overview as to how the UK is. Tom?
Absolutely, thank you, Edmund. And I think a good thing to point out here as well is it's not just the UK that is having this effect. I mean, I'm speaking to students at the moment from Australia, New Zealand, the USA, Canada, many other countries, and lots of European countries as well. That are also really struggling at the moment. I think, although we have here the statistics for the UK, it's a very similar case with many different countries. So even though you may think that this may not be relevant to you, usually it is quite relevant because a lot of the statistics are very similar across most of these kind of major countries for students now, unfortunately. So let's have a look here. As you can see with the graph, you've got the applicants versus the seats available. Now you can see that the amount of applicants, the light blue columns there, is rising every single year. In even the reapplicants of people trying again and again year after year. Trust me, there are a lot of them. I've spoken to people before that have applied 4 or 5 times, every single year to get into the UK. It's been really unfortunate for a lot of people, and yet the seats available still remain very, very low. So it's just really, really unfortunate in the UK. Moving on from that, we can then look at the workforce in the UK. And this is the slightly ironic part because although the seats are so dangerously low in the UK for medical students, the spaces required for medical doctors in the UK is so high, needing around 50,000 new doctors now to meet the EU average of 3.7 doctors, as you can see there, per 1,000 people. So we have a huge shortage. And again, I know this isn't just the UK. I speak to students around the world every single day that see similar problems within their hospitals as well. A lot of parents that work as doctors that see that in their environment. So it's a really difficult situation, and one that sometimes going to study abroad can really benefit. So going on from there, we can have a look at how many doctors are registering. Again, this is specifically for the UK, but very much relevant, I think, to around the world and most sort of major countries. So you have a look here. Let's have a look at 2021 last year, the results that were published. So there were 7,000 doctors that graduated and registered from UK medical schools and went into the General Medical Council in the UK. There were then 2,500 that came from EU or EEA schools. And then you can see here that just over 10,000 medical graduates and doctors registered with the GMC from outside of the EU. So that's actually more than both the EU and the UK combined, which is a huge figure of international doctors, and just goes to show really how things are working now with the UK. They're struggling to expand the spaces, and therefore a lot of doctors are coming in from other countries, not just in Europe, but around the world. So going on from there, a lot of people often ask us, what is medical education like in Europe? Is it very different from the UK? How does the system work? So we've got a little breakdown here for you. Of course, we go into a lot more detail into these when we have appointments with you. But just to give you a brief overview this evening, the course durations are 6 years in length, and that is 3 years of theoretical mainly. Now you're still going to be doing lots of labs, lots of sort of research activities, and some sort of work within hospitals, but more from kind of watching from a distance perspective. Then your second 3 years are your practical years. So these are clinical years. You're working in hospitals with patients. Now, in terms of applying to these courses, it really varies depending on the university. There's a huge level of variety. Some of them are getting very difficult to get in now, especially with the amount of people applying every year. But there are still some that are very flexible, all of them maintaining a very high quality, which we can go into a bit more detail later on. So then let's have a little look at dental education, because this is another one that's really popular in Europe. So again, entry requirements can be quite flexible. And the course duration here, the only difference here is it's between 5 and 6 years, depending on where you study. And then again, you're looking at the first half is mainly theoretical, and then the second half is mainly clinical. And again, this is working with real patients. And this clinical experience is essential, regardless of where you're going to register afterwards. And the European degrees, both for medicine and dentistry, are great for this because they have a really strong emphasis on that clinical experience. So we're now going to have a little look at graduate entry pathway into medicine and dentistry. So this is a certain pathway that's available to individuals who have completed a Bachelor of Science degree. And what happens is you work by recognition of subjects. So you can actually get subjects from your previous degree recognized to allow you to enter into a later year of the medical degree. So effectively, you can skip the subjects that you have already completed within an accredited university within your country, and that will allow you to progress through the medical degree. Now, this is very specific. It's not something that is able to work for everyone, and it's always worth giving us a call to have a discussion about this. But it's a fantastic opportunity for some people out there who have already put in so much hard work in the medical related pathways. Okay, so I'm going to pass over to my colleague Dana now to discuss a little bit about university transfers. Dana, are you here?
Hello.
I think
I'm here. So another great service offered by Medlink is transfers. This is for students who have went to a university and found out that it's not the suitable environment for them, it's not the suitable place, and they want to transfer, to change from one university to another. Now, the majority here are considering first year for October 2023. However, there are some students that approach us telling us that they would like to change universities, they're not happy where they are. So in case you're one of these students, this is something possible and we can help you with. It works based on a case-by-case assessment. So each student has different curriculums based on the university they're in. So what our doctors will do is expert doctors will take a look at your transcripts, the subjects you have done, and we will guide you and advise you which university would be best for you. And please remember that transfers is a case-by-case assessment. So each student has a different case. If you're one of these students who wants to transfer, you can get in touch with us. It is possible to transfer, and we will advise you what's the best option. Now, another question we get a lot is living costs and tuition fees. A lot of students want to know about the budgeting. Many students are worried about the budgeting. How much is it going to cost me to live in an apartment there? How much am I going to pay for tuition fees? And many students are attracted to Europe because of the high quality of education and the high standard of education that they get compared to the affordable tuition fees they get. So the fees of the universities we work with range between £4,000 up to £21,000 a year, as you can see in front of you on the screen. And one important question many students ask us is, does this mean that the university that has higher tuition fees has a higher quality of education? Well, the answer here is that the tuition fees of the universities are related to the quality, are not related to the quality of education, sorry. They're related more towards the economical situation of the country, the geographical location of the university that it's in. So quality of education and tuition fees are not related to each other. And as you can see on the screen in front of you, we have some examples of some countries with their tuition fees and living expenses. So you can compare the living expenses and the economical situation of the country compared to the tuition fees. So whatever your budget is, don't worry. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to pay much more than you can afford just because you think it's going to be a higher quality of education. We can help you find a university with a very high standard of education and with very affordable fees. So you can achieve your dream, study medicine, and without any interruptions, without having the financial burden on you or your parents. Back to you, Edmund.
Thank you so much, Dana, for sharing that with us. Now, we're often asked how we can guarantee your medical or dental acceptance to the school that we apply for you. Now, a lot of the students tend to be concerned about the academic requirements of these universities, because some of the universities, you might visit their website and find vague information on what grades they need, but you don't have to worry about that at all. And here's why. Most of the universities, they require high school diploma or what is the equivalent in your country's system. And you usually have to have a strong background in sciences, basic sciences. So you've got biology, chemistry, physics, or math. Some universities from non-native speakers will need to pass an English proficiency certificate, because they want to make sure that you'll be able to get most out of the course. So we assess that during the course to ensure that perhaps you have the sciences, and there might be some students that might not have science. So we also can look for universities that would be suitable based on what you have. Some universities just have a simple entrance test, which may include multiple choice questions of biology and chemistry. Now, this is something that we actually we prepare you for. Some universities, it's just an interview, and we help you prepare. We prepare the questions and we pass them over to you. And then for the students that do the course, which is graduate entry, it requires your degree, the transcript, the syllabus, and then to see whether you're actually qualified to actually apply. The rest of it is down to us and the team. And for each country that we work with over 50 countries. We have an admissions team that look after each of them. And they are the experts to ensure that you have everything that is needed. We will look after the paperwork. We'll communicate with the university on your behalf. And then whilst we're doing that, you're just preparing for the entrance test. And that's because we want to make sure that everything is done correctly. The forms are filled in correctly to make sure that you have the highest chance of getting into the school. And this is our objective, is to guide you. And sometimes we will even help you with things like the visa application, if it's required, as well as helping you with the tuition fees to the university. And because we're with you every step of the way, we want to ensure that you don't have any worries of, would I qualify? What happens after I've been accepted? All we want to say is, don't be afraid of the criteria, and simply just get in touch with us and we'll help you find a suitable option that is there for you. Now, one of the things that we get asked is, what is the best medical or dental school to apply to? And to tell you a bit more about that, I'd like to invite back my colleague, Tom, to tell you about really the best medical or dental schools that we have that teach in English. Tom.
Thanks, Edmund. I get asked this question a lot. I'm sure if there's anyone on the webinar this evening that's spoken to me before, they've probably is sitting there now thinking, yeah, I've asked him this question. They say to me, Tom, what is the best medical school to apply to in Europe? And I can never give an answer. The reason being is the best medical school for you is a completely different school for someone else. It really depends on what is suitable for you, both financially, in terms of the activities there, in terms of the teaching that's done there, in terms of the recognition that the degree awards you with, in terms of if you qualify, if you've got suitable grades. There is so much variety, but also so much opportunity. I think those are the two key things to look at here. You can look at places that are very affordable but still maintain a really high quality of education, like Georgia, for example. You can also look at places, maybe you want somewhere that's really central within Europe, somewhere like Hungary or Poland, for example. Maybe you want somewhere that's a bit hotter. Look at somewhere like Bulgaria, which has fantastic summers. There's so much difference. And then in terms of the education as well, some of them will have specific research opportunities if that's something you're interested in. Some of them still use cadavers. Some of them have very specific anatomy labs and anatomy VR setups that you can take advantage of within your learning. So there's so much difference that you can look into, and so many different opportunities. But here's just a very vague list of some of the top. So these were some of the most popular out of all of the students that applied with us this year. These were a few of the highest numbers of applications from us, and for good reason. They're fantastic schools, and I think within this list there really is an option to suit most people that we speak to, because they are some really great schools. So going on from there, let's have a little look into some of these universities. So here we've got a university, a medical university based in Georgia. So this is based in the capital city of Georgia, Tbilisi, as the name suggests, the European University in Tbilisi. So this is a university that does both medical and dental courses in English, the medicine being 6 years, dentistry being 5 years. There is no entrance test to get into this university, which is something, the entrance exams are quite normal in a lot of the European countries, but with this one, you will find no entrance exam. No need to panic. Then in terms of the tuition fees, as you can see, it's on the more affordable side here, around 4,800 euros. That's there per year. And then the cost of living is around 550. You could say 500 to 600 euros per month. All right, let's have a look at the campus. So we've got here the libraries, full access. You're able to, as a student, access at any time. A great space to go and sit and study if you need somewhere that's not your apartment or your halls. Going on from there, we've got some of the laboratories. So this is what I was talking about before, where you'll spend a lot of your time in your preclinical years, completing lots of various labs. Very exciting things to get up to there before you start working with patients. And here you can see the fully equipped rooms. This is where you'll do some of your virtual anatomy there with the computers, and then also some of your sort of more standard lectures and note-taking and things there. So going on from that, you can see some of the dental equipment. So these phantom heads, you'll be getting very familiar with these. For those of you dentists watching, these are a very common sight in any top dental university, and you will work tirelessly with these until you are ready to work properly with actual patients in your clinical years. Okay, and then you've got the simulation room. So similar again for medicine, this will be your preclinical years. You'll be doing a lot of work in here, really getting as familiar as possible. And I know with this university, they do a lot of, similar to the UK's OSCEs, actually in the preclinical years, they do a lot of testing with you to ensure that you're very competent with everything that's needed on a simulation level first, before going into the clinical setting with the patients, which is fantastic. Okay, and now a little look at the dormitories. Now this is quite unique because a lot of the schools that we work with don't offer dormitories for international students, which isn't much of a problem. We've got people on the ground that help you find a perfect apartment on your own or with other UK or international students. But with this university, they do have really nice dormitories. You've got all the students there, so it's a really nice social aspect as well, and it's very affordable. So having a look at the extracurricular and leisure activities. So yes, the medical championships, they have all kinds of academic championships here, as well as loads of sports, as you can see there. Lots of parties, and really, especially, we've just seen the welcome parties that have happened with this school, and they do not hold back. They had, I think it was a full orchestra that they had welcoming all the students this year. They've also got field trips, national events. One thing that I really like about it is exchange trips that they do for the students in different hospital and clinical settings around the world. And that's for top students. So if you do really well and you're really committed and you do well in a year, you'll have an opportunity to, all expenses paid, go on one of these exchange trips, which is a great opportunity for your experience. And yeah, as you can see here, a few more benefits. Oh yeah, another key one here, we're talking less about the education and more about the location. It is a really safe city. It's ranked as one of the safest capitals in the world, Tbilisi. So it's a really friendly place for international students. Right, I think I've gone over that in quite a lot of detail, but of course, if you want any more, you can always give us a call. I'm going to pass on to my colleague now, Dana, to tell us a little bit about the schools in Serbia. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Tom. So, University of Niš. This is one of our most popular universities. It's one of the top 4 medicine and English language. They have a 6-year MD program, fully taught in English. Tuition fees are very affordable, 5,500 euros per year. And living expenses are quite affordable also in Niš. In Niš, you can live on around 650 euros a month. And one important thing, university, is the laboratories they have. The university is very famous for the experience you get, the practical experience specifically, plus, of course, the modern rooms and modern facilities they have, whether it's labs or the classes or where you hold the seminars. And the simulation rooms, as you can see in front of you on the screen, the photos, you get to experience your practicals to the fullest. Clinical practice, as we mentioned. The doctors are very friendly and very supportive, trying to teach students as much as possible. And of course, we're not going to forget the best part for students, which is the extracurricular and leisure activities. Like, they are very sportive. They have volleyball, basketball, musical instruments. Plus, of course, many students love to research. You get an opportunity to do your research projects and the scientific conferences, getting to learn a lot. And learning languages, learning the language of the local language of the place of Serbia, and the parties, which is the best part. Students love the parties, New Year's, welcoming the students in, and of course, we're not gonna forget the many more advantages and great points about the country and the university itself. Serbia is a very beautiful and historical city. It's a place where it's very student friendly and safe for students to stay in. And of course, we're not gonna forget to talk about the students' diversity and organizations on campus, where you get to do a lot of networking and a lot of social activities. So it's a great place. Students love it there. And we'll go to the next university.
Before we do that, there is a student who has joined us from, a few students actually, who have joined us from the University of Niš. And I'd like to invite one of them to really tell us about their experience, how they're finding it, their journey so far. So I'd like to invite Fauzan, who's studying medicine there, and to tell us which year he's in and really how he's finding his journey so far at the University of Niš.
Good evening, guys. My name is Fauzan, and I'm studying medicine in the University of Niš. Currently a third-year student here. And yeah, what can I say? A bit about the university. I found that they have really, really good clinical placements over here. They have, I think, roughly 3 to 4 hospitals, but they're all like very close by because the city is not very big at all, so it's very easy to commute to. Their facilities are very, very good. Obviously, some hospitals are slightly more modern than others. However, I've seen facilities over here that sometimes you don't even see in UK hospitals. So in terms of clinical placements, it is really, really good. It's a top place to study. The university is good. The professors are really, really nice. They actually want you to learn and they care about you, you know, the way you're studying, how you're studying. They tend to, you know, check up and see like, you know, how you're getting on with your work. Yeah, they just have that kind of sort of like that passion to teach. It's not, you know, very boring and very bland. Like they're from my experience, the lectures have been very lively, very good. And yeah, so in general, the studies over here, they are pretty, really good. The city as well, it's quite nice. It's very small, so it's like a very enclosed community. Everyone kind of knows everyone. You'll tend to be bumping into all the UK students. There's many UK students over here. So obviously, there's been numerous times where I've just stepped out walking to university and I'll bump into a few people. But yeah, overall, I think the learning experience here is very, very good.
Fantastic. Some of the things that, I mean, I speak to a lot of students from the UK, and some of the students that go abroad, they're very, very concerned about being a young British student. One of the things as well that students are are worried about is diversity. You know, some of our students are Muslim. For you, being a young British Muslim, what is that like for you studying at the University of Nice?
I mean, I think it's pretty normal. I see it the way it is in the UK. For example, I'm from London in the UK, so you know, I don't really feel any different at all, if I'm being honest. Going into the university, you know, I was one of the first to join the university. So I think when I first joined, you know, everybody was like a bit like, all the students would look, oh wow, like we've got somebody who's not white, because obviously Serbia is a predominantly white country. But then obviously going forward from there, the more and more students started joining, it just started to become more and more diverse. And yeah, but the Serbians, they're really, really welcoming. They're really, really nice. Another helpful thing is, like, I've been really surprised that the majority of them actually speak English. So I've never kind of had an issue speaking to somebody on the street or asking them for directions or anything like that. Predominantly taxi drivers, everybody, like students in the university, professors, everybody speaks English here. So in my opinion, I've never really had that sort of issue, that language barrier over there. But yeah, I've felt pretty safe over here, and yeah, it's safe. It's nice. Everybody's nice, to be honest. Even in terms of all the students I've known, I don't think anybody's ever encountered a problem or anything like that. It's really safe. As I said, the city is very small. It's very enclosed. It's kind of like a very strong community. Everybody knows everybody. And the Serbians are really, really welcoming. They're really, really accommodating, because I think it's new for them, for foreigners to come into this city. And because of that, they kind of respect that, and they kind of glad to have the opportunity that, you know, their city is diversing more now. So I think they've really accepted us, and yeah, they've been really nice and helpful, and yeah, I feel really, really comfortable there.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. And I know, and listen, medicine is tough, and it can't all be, you know, just roses every day. I'm sure you've had some obstacles that you faced there. What are some of the obstacles that you faced personally, and what did you do to kind of overcome those?
Okay, so I was studying previously in Ukraine, and I had to transfer because of the war. So my experience, I normally just compare on the basis of what I had from Ukraine in the first hand. Over here, I think studies are a lot more intense in comparison to my previous uni. Yeah, they're really, really on it in terms of their education. As I said, the professors, they will give you a lot of work. They will, you know, there is a lot of content to learn, but at the end of the day, it's all for your good. They genuinely want you to pass your exams, and they want you to know everything that you need to know. So because of that, you know, they're very passionate with their education, which is really, really good. But at the same time, it's not light work. It's not light work. It is medicine. It's a 6-year degree. It's a hard degree. It's one of the hardest degrees in the world. So you do have to kind of put in that work. But I think if you stay on top of your work and don't fall behind, you know, there's always time to enjoy. And whenever, like, for example, there have been times where, you know, you might not understand something straight away, and you go to the lecturer and say, oh, can you repeat this or anything like that? They really, really don't mind repeating anything or re-explaining anything. I've never kind of actually had to go after class to ask a professor to explain something, because they're very open in the lecture halls, where they'll be like, if you don't understand anything, anybody, please just raise your hand and I'll go over it again. So students are kind of, at the start, where they might have been a bit nervous to put their hand up, now it's very open, where someone will kind of put their hand up and say, look, I didn't really understand that. Professor, could you please repeat that? And the professor will be more than happy to go through it again. On top of that, yeah, they're very, very nice. Even, you know, out of lessons, if you catch them anywhere and you have a question, they're more than willing to help. Funny enough, I run a football session over here as well. And I think we had one session last week. We played with the vice dean, and we also played with one of the surgery doctors who will be teaching 6th years and 5th years. And, you know, they're very, very nice. And I was just talking with them. They were like, look, anything you guys need, anything, you know, if you need help with anything at all, or you don't understand anything, or even anything, you know, non-medical related, if you have any issues, please come to us, and you know, we will help you. And yeah, it's really, really good. I also noticed, I think 1 week ago, one of my friends was feeling sick, and we actually got to know that the university has its own students clinic. So it's exclusively for students. So, you know, if you ever are not feeling well, or yeah, you need some sort of assistance, you can always go to the student clinic. They'll be more than happy to help you out. But yeah, overall, it's really friendly, and they are really, really caring. And I feel like they've accepted us in, and they really do look after us. So yeah, really, really good, really positive.
Oh, fantastic. I was actually going to ask you about the kind of the extracurriculars that you do, and it seems that you've got that going on for you very well. One last question for you though, Fazan. As this sounds amazing, right? Obviously, I would go, but obviously it's not down to me. This is down to the students that are here tonight, who are probably even worried about going, or probably even thinking about taking a gap year and trying again. What advice would you give those students, considering the journey that you've had so far, and you're still going, So what advice would you give those students who are with us tonight about studying at your school?
I mean, medicine is overall, it is a journey, and there will be, obstacles and things that get in the way. So for me, for example, I went to Ukraine and the war situation happened. And in my head, I was, kind of losing it a little bit. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? But then luckily, Medlink provided the alternative move over here. I settled in really well, settled in pretty quickly. Yeah, it was really nice. It was really good. It was a smooth transaction. Got over here, started looking for my apartment straight away. Medlink kind of provided us a few estate agents and things like that, sort of general information, which is, useful to get by the city. So yeah, using those, I managed to find an apartment. And then from there, yeah, I just went straight into my studies. I mean, the most important thing for me is, the education, because I feel like this is the reason why everybody's going on this journey to, get that degree and hopefully practice wherever we want to in the world. So, but yeah, I feel like, you can be a bit doubtful at times. I remember sitting in this position, 3 years ago, thinking, what am I going to do? Do I want to do a degree first, or do I want to come straight to Europe? But yeah, I would recommend, if medicine is for you, if you're really passionate about it and it's something you want to pursue, then 100% I would not delay. Just go straight into it, and yeah, hopefully you will not regret it. It's the right thing to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We really can't wait to see your journey, so that you can come back to the UK as a doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Edwin. Thank you. Take care, guys. Thank you.
So let's have a look at another university. And this is one that we have in Poland. This is the Medical University of Silesia. Now, Poland has really become one of the top destinations to pursue medicine or dentistry. Now, to study dentistry there, you study there for 5 years. You graduate there as a doctor of dental surgery. For medicine, it's 6 years. And then you graduate with a Doctor of Medicine degree, MD. Now, the Medical University of Silesia is in the south of Poland, in a city called Katowice, the large city. And this university has graduated over 50,000 healthcare specialists since the 1940s. Now, interesting fact about the school, as they open their course in English, they're the first medical school in the 90s to teach medicine in English. So they became one of the prime choices for medicine or dentistry in English. Now, Silesia does have an entrance test and a short interview. But don't worry, as I mentioned before, this is something we help you with by providing you with the entrance test materials that you need. And it's just basic biology and chemistry. You also have the choice to do either biology and physics too. Now, the tuition fees is around 11,000 euros per year. And the tuition fee, that's for medicine. And then for dentistry, you're looking at around 12,000 per year. The tuition fees are paid semesterly. You pay half each semester. The living cost there ranges from 600 to 800 euros per month. And that would include rent, bills, food, internet, all the other expenses that you'll have. The university has 2 intakes per year. So you have the chance to join either a February intake, which we have just completed, and then the next intake is October. Now, the university has their state-of-the-art labs, which are really comparable to other medical schools across the globe. Their halls are equipped with resources for really informative seminars and presentations. Now, their dental faculty really provides phantom heads for really early development to really build on your clinical skills. And they also have simulation centers at their medical faculty. which allows you guys to have early hands-on experience and really the chance to develop specific skills before you move on to your clinical years. Now, of course, it's not just all play, all work and no play. You get to have extracurricular activities. So whether you're looking to improve or take part in cooking, any painting, climbing, boat sailing, horse riding, swimming, maybe you want to get a bit of your groove on and get into some dance classes, any futsal. They organize graduation ceremonies, Freshers Week for the new students, which is really exciting. They have New Year's Eve parties. They organize field trips. They have national events. Basically, they organize a lot of field trips, really, and conferences to allow other students to also join. Now, of course, the university is recognized by many medical councils worldwide. So from the US to Australia to Canada, you'll be able to use the degree going back to your home country. Now, why would you study here? Now, well, being in a vibrant city, it's also known for hosting lots of festivals over the summer season. So you get to really take part in different festivals across different genres. And then you can also take breaks from the city life because it does have the kind of the vibrancy, the busyness, and they also have the quiet parts of it. So you can enjoy some trips to the nature reserves. Now, they also have over 2,000 students that are enrolled in their English program. So we're always looking for ways and ways to kind of apply for you and understand the processes every single year. And so I would like to invite my colleague, Tom, who can tell you about really how we can help you apply to these schools. Tom?
Yes, thank you, Edmund. So how can Medlink students help you? I know we've gone over a few of these points briefly, but you can see here there's a few different stages, and it's good to have a clear idea of this, so you can see if this is the right kind of thing for you, and if this is exactly what you are looking for as a potential medical or dental student. So we've got here our free consultation, the application management, the help with settling in, and full ongoing support. So we're going to have a little breakdown and look into each of these, starting with the consultation. So I think we've got something coming up here with a bit of detail. Yeah, here we go. So the consultation is completely free of charge, and that is done by your advisor. So when you first sign up with Medlink, you'll be put in touch with your own assigned advisor. Could be myself or Edmund or Dana or any of our colleagues as advisors that will help you. And what we will do is try and find out as much as we can about you as an individual. You know, what is it you like? What do you dislike? What kind of budget do you have for tuition fees? What kind of grades are you working towards, or do you have already? You know, have you got a degree that you would be using and wanting to apply with? And what sort of program are you looking for? You know, thousands of different things, and based on our experience, we're able to help you in choosing that option. Now, from that point, once you've gone through, you've had a few phone calls with us, as it usually is, and you've decided on a school, fantastic, we can start the application. So this is when it goes to our dedicated admissions team. So they do everything. They will legalize the document, translate the documents. They will also give you specific exam materials. Now, these are materials that are updated regularly to fit the specific university you're applying to. Because a lot of these places, they don't have country-specific tests. They actually have university-specific tests. So a lot of the materials can vary quite a lot, and it's important to know what materials you need specifically for the exam, for the university that you are in fact applying to. And of course, they'll help you with things like paying the tuition fee to the school, sorting out a visa, all of the sort of little bit things that you've got to do that can be really confusing if you've never done them before. Now, next step can seem very daunting at first. So that's help settling in. So you're going to a new country, but you have nothing to worry about. It's the Medlink team that are there to pick you up from the airport. As soon as you land, we are there on the ground to help you and to support you, because we understand how important that is. So we will pick you up from the airport and we'll help you to sort out accommodation. We'll show you around the city and around the university. help you to sort out a bank account if you want one, get a SIM card, all these little things that, again, can seem a little bit daunting at first. And at this point, you'll obviously be meeting the other students and getting to know them. For us, this is always the most exciting part of the year, when we get to see everyone that's been so nervous beforehand, just all that excitement come out, and them really enjoy it and embrace this new opportunity. So that pretty much sums it up in a nutshell. But of course, we've got the ongoing support. If you ever need us, we're there. We've got a huge community now across Europe of older students, as you've seen a couple of them today, that are on hand and able to support you and help you, as well as our Medlink team. We've got our offices across Europe. We've got our office in the UK that you can always contact, and our contact details if you ever need anything. Even when it gets to the point where you've studied for 5 or 6 years and you've graduated and you're coming back to the UK, we are still there. You are still a part of our Medlink Students family, and we're still there to support you. We're still there to help you, and you'll get guidance from our team of doctors, of medical students, and everyone else to make sure that you've got every opportunity that you need to take that next step and to keep moving forward, as you need to do so much within this profession, and to continue on pursuing this dream. Okay, Edmund, back to you.
Thank you so much, Tom. And as you're saying, yes, you're pretty much with us every step of the way, and even when you come back to the UK. I remember just recently, one of the students whose parents actually contacted me, saying, "Oh, my son is now in year 4," and it's interesting because he said, she was saying, 4 years now. My son has started their clinical rotation, which really was crazy, because it's almost like you blink and 4 years is up, and then next thing they'll be done. So you're pretty much with us every step of the way. Now, I'd like to bring back one of the students, obviously, as we're going through the Q&A section, where we're going to answer some of the questions that have been put through. And also, we've been looking at where a lot of you guys are from, and it's been great seeing where all of you are joining us. It's been lovely to see that and spending your evening with us. I'd like to bring back one of the students who's also studying at the University of Niche, really to introduce themselves and talk about their experience so far. So I'd like to invite Shinga to talk about his experience so far at the University of Niche, and which year he's in. Shinga?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Shinga.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can, yes.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure to be here, and really my experience of Niche has been so far so good. Everybody, the Serbian citizens and the professors and everybody have been so welcoming, and they've made you so comfortable in just adapting and getting into their own system. The education is excellent. The teachers speak fluent English, so you understand everything. So I'll give an all around, it's a very good place to come if you're really interested in studying medicine.
Fantastic. And for you, Shinga, how's it been studying there, and the diversity as a student in Serbia? How's it been for you?
It's been quite good, and I've been taken by surprise all the time, because the diversity, it's pretty good, and everybody seems to be on board with each other, communicating. So there's a very comfortable environment. So in that sort of environment, it helps you to push on further and study more with your fellow peers. So I pretty much enjoy being here in Serbia, and I really do appreciate being here.
Fantastic. Which year are you now?
Currently in my 5th year.
Ah, fantastic. So
I'm not too
how is
far.
that? Not too long until you finish. How has that been for you in terms of seeing patients, doing your clinical placements at the school now?
Oh, it's wonderful. I love it, because the first thing that the professors, they want you to do is to engage with the patient, take history, do clinical examination. So when it comes to that specific training, I get everything that I need. And they're always asking if you want to learn more or to do more physical examinations, then you're always welcome to come in and learn some more. So when it comes to that aspect of the physical training, you get everything that you need.
Fantastic, fantastic. And in terms of kind of your journey so far, how have we supported you throughout?
Oh, from the beginning, Medlink have been there from the start, and I pretty much appreciate it because I was also coming from Ukraine, and I was really thinking that this is it for me. I've almost wasted a chunk of my life studying medicine and then realizing that I won't be able to go anywhere else. I tried several other universities hoping that they can transfer me to their university, but there wasn't anything there until I contacted Medlink. Funny enough, it was Tom who offered me Serbia, and I decided to do it. And from now, I haven't regretted making that decision, and I've been happy that Medlink have been there every step.
Fantastic. And finally, what advice can you give the students that are watching now, who obviously you're 5 years in now, almost finished, but I'm sure you are just as nervous as some of them are, or concerned parents as well. What advice would you give them about studying perhaps at the University of Niš?
I would say, first of all, to have confidence in yourself, because you're going to be on a long journey, and you need to be confident in every step that you take. Study hard and take that leap in wherever you go, and appreciate the journey that you're going to take, because there will be some difficult times, because it is medicine, and medicine is one of the most difficult courses that you can ever take. So if you have your family, Medlink, and your friends around you, then you're surely going to appreciate the journey and enjoy that experience of studying in Niš.
Thank you so much, Shinga. And again, as we're always excited to see how your journey unfolds when you come back to the UK. Thank you.
Cheers.
So another student that we also have studying in Poland, I would like to invite to talk about their experience, their journey so far, and how life as a student in Poland has been for them. Trudy, are you there?
Hi, yes, I am.
Hello. I think. Oh, here we go. How are you? You okay?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Greetings from Poland.
Fantastic. Yes, thank you. How is it going over there? And tell us a bit more about your experience.
Well, as you know, the university is a well-known university, very popular. And when I first wanted to apply through Medlinks, I had a few universities you went through with me, and I thought Poland would be the best fit because of I was in a country that was close to Poland, so I thought moving would be pretty much a bit easier for me. Adjusting would be a bit easier for me because I'll be able to perhaps settle really quickly. And then obviously you provided all the resources for the entrance exam. And yeah, the process was pretty much, everything was done for me. So all the documents was submitted, were verified, and all the things that I didn't want to have to do, were kind of done for me, and it made the transition into this university and institution really, streamlined, and I really did like that.
Fantastic, thank you. And which year are you in now, actually?
So I'm 5th year, first semester. So we're doing, right now we're doing internal medicine. So we're doing our hospital rotation. So we go to the hospital every day, get shouted at by a few doctors. No, I'm just kidding. And you know, although it has been quite interesting on a few occasions. We have you see it on TV, kind of like the crash. People will crash, and like all the doctors rush in and, you know, clear the room and start CPR. And so there was one that we were literally in the theater and we were watching them do the whole CPR and the whole process. And I think it's like, wow, this is like, I really felt more like a doctor. I've never felt that in medical school, but like it really hits you then that you're actually out there to save people's lives. And so, you know, I was really happy I took that step and came here to, you know, experience that. Wow.
Fantastic. We have a lot of students that we talk to who, you know, are either Black or brown students, and they're worried about going abroad. A lot of students are very worried of actually going to Poland. So how has your experience been for you being there as a Black British student who's studying in Poland?
I heard the rumors as well about that, but I don't really feel that. I mean, I'm in quite a small city, Katowice, and you know, it's not as diverse as like a Warsaw, but what I got was like friendliness from the taxi drivers, from the first taxi driver that took me to you know, the people here at the university. Like, you know, it's been really nice. The ones that can speak, like even people that don't really speak English, and as your Polish is improving and their English is improving, they're really patient with you. I've been to some countries where if you can't speak the language, then they kind of get angry with you and kind of dismiss you and like tell you to go away. But here it's like really friendly, really nice, and they're really welcoming, I would say. You know, which is you know, which is really good. It's really inclusive, I would say.
Ah, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. How are the support from the teachers? Because it tends to be quite important for the students who go abroad to know that they will receive the kind of similar type of support that they would get if they studied in the UK.
Well, it's the teachers, they really do want you to pass and they do want you to succeed. More importantly, they just want you to be good doctors because they understand that, you know, it's the lives that, you know, of people that, you know, are being affected here. So they really make sure you study, but they offer you support, which is really nice as well. I remember I was having a bit of issue with one of my topics, and I went to the teacher. She sat me down. We kind of went through questions together, and then she also told me, okay, go back and study this. And she kind of gave me a kind of guide of how to progress in this subject. And I found that really helpful and really nice. So you will never be left alone. You will always be supported, especially if you want to work. You know, if you want to work and you want to be a doctor, you want to put in the hours, then you will always be, you know, taken care of really well.
That's great. And also another question that's also been coming in is how do you have any language barriers as you are in Poland?
Well, there are quite a lot of people that speak English, especially people affiliated with the university. There are a lot of people that do speak English. But then even if there is a bit of like, I have this, me personally, I have this kind of pen pal system. So there are a lot of Polish students and our dorms are very close to the Polish dorms. So we kind of go to the Polish dorms, we make friends there. Their English is good. Their Polish is excellent, of course, being natives. Our Polish isn't as strong and our English is very good. So it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship there. We kind of improve their English, they improve our Polish. And, you know, so me personally, I have like two friends, one Polish guy and one Polish girl. And we kind of go back and forth and we're just improving our vocabulary, our phrases, popular words, popular sayings. So you'll really get a lot of support and help with the language, you know, and you would want to because it helps immerse yourself in the culture. And it's a fantastic culture.
I thought you would be fluent in Polish by now after the DSC you've been there.
Dobrze.
Finally, Chidi, thank you so much. What advice do you have for the students that are watching tonight? Some students will have been to probably each and every single one of our webinars, still not made their mind up yet and still nervous, and things are holding them back. What advice do you have for them? Because you're there now, you're nearly done.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a good thing I did, because if I didn't listen to that advice you gave at the beginning, I think I'd probably still be attending these webinars and not speaking on them. And I mean, I remember when I did get in contact with you, it was I was on the fence as well. I was like, well, I'm settled here. Maybe I should just continue. Maybe I should just, wait a bit longer. But then I thought to myself, at the end of the day, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Famous saying. And so I decided, let me just go ahead, dive in, stop letting fears hold me back. And the sooner you start, the sooner you realize how you should have started such a long time ago. And that's the one thing that keeps on popping in my head every single day. It's like, I really should have done this a long time ago. Don't know what I was waiting for. I have the support, I have the knowledge, just should have gone ahead and done this. So I would say for those on the fence, I would really think carefully and just make a decision. And you'll be surprised how you wish you would have made this decision a long time ago.
Absolutely. And you'll always think of a million reasons why you shouldn't do it.
Obviously,
things
always.
to stop you from it. Yeah.
Always.
But yes, thank you so much. And hey, you're almost done. So we can't wait for you to come back and start practicing. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us.
No worries, Edmund. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, another student that we also want to invite to share their experience with us is a student who is studying at the European University in Tbilisi, Georgia. And this is Luay. Luay, could you come and share a bit of your experience and how life has been for you in Georgia?
Hello, Edmund.
Hello.
Actually, my experience so far is really great. Hello. My experience so far here in Georgia, Tbilisi, is really great so far. The citizens are really friendly. They are so smooth with interaction with most of who I interacted with, taxis and store clerks. They really know how to speak English. There's no barrier, language barrier between you and the home, between the people here. They are friendly, as I mentioned before. It's really a nice country here. The weather is just beautiful. It is a small city, not that big. So I think this is an advantage. You can go from point A to point B easily. There's not much traffic. There are public transportation. It's just beautiful country here.
Fantastic. And where are you from yourself?
I'm from Lebanon.
Ah, fantastic.
I came from Lebanon.
Ah, brilliant. And which year are you in currently?
This is my first semester, actually, my first year here studying medicine at Tbilisi.
Fantastic. How has your first semester at the school actually been in terms of classes, lectures, any labs, any hands-on experience you've done so far?
So the first thing I noticed here is that the university is well equipped with, they are really well equipped. The professors are really friendly. They go the extra mile to make sure that you understand the lesson they are giving to you. As I said, the labs are well equipped. The classes are well equipped. The administration of the university itself, they are really with us. They don't anything we need. We just talk to them. They reply at any time we need. Also, the doctors, the same. Doctors are really helpful. I did actually contact multiple of the doctors who are giving me some lectures now. They replied to me even after the working hours of the university. The university itself is really nice. The doctors are really nice. It's just, I'm enjoying it over here.
Ah, fantastic. Thank you. And hey, also just a last question for you, just as we've been asking all the other students as well. As you've just started your journey, which is great because you took the step and the courage to go abroad. You know, you left your support system and now you're in a completely different country. What advice would you give those students who also are thinking of starting that journey and they're still not sure?
Yeah, so you will feel a little bit stressed out at the beginning, but once you start going to the university, once you start getting there, studying, getting in touch with the doctors, you are going to like it. It is medicine. It's going to be a little bit hard. You should study on daily basis to just keep up, but it's really nice. There's nothing to be afraid from. As I mentioned, the doctors here are really good. They are really friendly. They go the extra mile to make sure that we understand everything. There's nothing really to be afraid from. It's really nice. You are going to be stressed at first, but there's nothing to be afraid from. You will get used to the friendliness. You will not feel out of place. You will feel like you are in your home.
Ah, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us so far. And hey, really excited. I know you're with us now for the next couple of years. So we're really excited to see how your journey will be unfolding throughout. Thank you. All right, so now we're going to go through some other Q&As. We'll pick out some of the questions. There's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions that's been coming through. So we're going to go through some of them and really ask some of the students to also help us answer these. Keep the questions coming. We're loving them. So one of the questions that's been asked today is talk about what are some of the cons. You know, you talked about the pros, the great things, but what are some of the not so great things or the cons of studying abroad and what you've done to overcome them? So I think I'll ask Fauzan, who's studying in Niche, who I think it's perfect because you studied in Ukraine, then you had the war, and then you had to go to a different place. So what are some of the things that you, I suppose, had to do to overcome that?
I mean, in terms of with the war happening, that was, you know, completely out of anybody's control, really. So when the war happened, that was a kind of a con in terms of you don't know really what to expect. Anything can happen. But then obviously when you've got Medlink and you just go to them, you speak to them and you let them know with any concerns. And as you know, all the agents and supervisors, they're more than happy to, you know, get back to you and see how you can overcome any issues. Another con, I would say, sometimes people are very nervous coming outside to a different country. They sometimes fear being away from home or feeling homesick. But from my experience and from students that I've spoken to, firstly, this kind of really occurs at the start because, I mean, it is a big move, you know, it's all of a sudden you're just shifting to a whole different country. But I mean, when you settle down and I think obviously you've not got family over here, or some people are fortunate, but when you haven't, I think the next best thing to family is friends. And when you start to realize there's so many people in the exact same situation as you over here, you kind of get to make that really, really good connection with them because they are effectively your replacement for family over here. So I've made a variety of different friends over completely different years, you know, and you don't have to limit yourself to 1 year. For example, I'm in 3rd year, I've got friends in 2nd year, 1st year, even 5th and 6th years, you know, and everyone's friendly and everyone's really nice because everybody understands that, you know, we're not as fortunate to have our families here with us because we've had to shift to another country. However, everybody is really, really nice. It is really, really good family type vibes. Everybody communicates with each other. Everybody helps each other out. For example, for our university, we've got a UK university group chat. So if anybody has any queries or any issues, they normally drop it into the chat. And because there's just so many people in the group chat, everybody's kind of helpful. You know, someone will always get back to you to say, you know, if you're having a problem, you can't find something, or, you know, just anything in general, to be honest. I've had the situations where in the group chat, someone will ask, okay, is there any good places to eat? Where can I get halal food? Where can I get the best, you know, SIM card? And just loads of different things. And more or less someone has already been through the situation that you've been through. So you guys are lucky in that sense, that because there's already people over here, you know, it's all about networking in the end. And if you just drop a message into, for example, the university group chat, you know, someone will always get back to you and say hi. You can, you know, direct you into the right way, you know, for whatever your, you know, query might be. Another thing, yeah, so being away from home, you know, even in the UK, for example, I know many students, they move out for university and don't necessarily study in their home city. For example, my brother, who we live in London, he's not studying in London, he's studying elsewhere. So, I mean, it just depends. And it's only a flight away. So, and the flights are relatively cheap as well. So, I mean, there's been instances where parents have, you know, like just come across for a little bit. Like, for example, just literally a week ago, my friend's mum came here for a week. She came, spent time with us, cooked for us a little bit, and, you know, just kind of helped us settle in. And then, yeah, she flew back. So, I mean, you know, it's only a flight away at the end of the day. And family are always, you know, as long as you've got your own place or whatever the case is, family can always come. In Ukraine, my family would come and stay at a hotel or with me, depending on where I'm living. And yeah, it's you know, it's not too far. It's like even in the UK, you know, you're not always privileged to study in the city that you are living in, and you have to move out somewhere. So commuting is something very normal, but we are fortunate that most of the countries that Medlink do offer, where you can study, the flights are relatively cheap. They're not really, you know, extortionate or expensive. So it's not too hard to, you know, catch a flight. Yeah, your family can always come and see you. I had my brother visit me in Ukraine, for example. He came for 2 weeks just to come see how it is, and yeah, he really enjoyed it. But yeah, and he's, you know, now even messaging me saying that, yeah, I need to come to Niche now to check it out, see how it is. I said, yeah, come anytime. So yeah, it's good in that sense. Another con I could say is maybe like the language barrier. But at the end of the day, I mean, I learned this in first year. This is like student hacks 101, if you want to say. You can go on to Google Translate, know which country that you are studying in. For example, if it's like Ukraine or Serbia, you would go on to Google Translate and just download the language offline, because, you know, one day you might run out of data or anything like that. And when you download it offline, you can translate anything without using data or Wi-Fi. And it just makes it easier. Obviously, Google Translate isn't going to be 100% accurate, but it more or less gets the job done. You know, when you're showing somebody that might not understand you, which is very rare, to be honest, in Niche anyway, because most people speak English, but, you know, you can show them and they get the idea, and then they can direct you in whichever way you need to go.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Thank you, Fazan. Thank you so much for that.
No worries, no worries.
Right. So last but not the least, there's another student that is also studying in Serbia doing dentistry that we'd like to invite to also share their experience. And we also have some questions that has been asked for the students too. So we have Zahra. Zahra, are you there?
Yeah, hi. I'm not doing dentistry, I'm doing medicine.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. Okay. We were turning you into a dentist already. Can you share with us your experience then, please? Thank you.
That's okay. I'm doing medicine at the University of Novi Sad in Serbia as well. It's going good. It's, you know, it's difficult. I'm in 4th year now, and it is a lot of work. I know most people are worried about the social aspect as well as the, you know, educational side of it. But with the social aspect, there is a lot of international students here because we have Erasmus programs within the university. So we have people from Italy, Spain coming and going all the time throughout the years. And we have a lot of Serbian nationals that have gone, like, that were born in Canada or were born in Australia, and they're coming back here to study. So there is a lot of English speaking people, and it's not hard to socialize with them because, you know English, and English is mainly spoken here because it is the second largest city in Serbia. But the educational side, I'd say, is tough. And they do put you to work. Like I'm late to this webinar right now because I was in a practical class until 8 p.m. today. So they do work you. Yeah, that's all I can say really. Any questions?
Ah, that's great. Thank you. And are you one of the transfers also from Ukraine?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So obviously you've had, obstacles from Ukraine, and now you're studying in Serbia. How has that been for you? And how, obviously, you're in classes earlier. So how's the teaching there so far been for you as a student?
The teaching, it's good. It's really good. You can't really compare both because they're very different. The different styles of teaching. Like here, our teaching is very much hands-on. It's like the teacher, like just now, she couldn't explain something, and she was like, I'll just show you. So she took us down to the clinic and she showed us a patient, and like it's more hands-on, I'd say, over here. And they do focus a lot on orals and making sure that you can understand something before you can actually talk about it properly, like in an exam. So they are very thorough, I'd say, here. And in Ukraine, it was good. Like we did learn as much as we could, and given the circumstances of like the war and everything, and COVID as well. But yeah, Novi said it's good. The teaching's really good. I wouldn't, I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's amazing. How is it like, and talking to a lot of students, some of the students that I talk to, these are young Muslim students. I could even speak to a young Muslim student from Sweden, and they're worried about going to another country. How's it been for you as a British Muslim who's studying there?
I would say it does take a lot of courage to move abroad initially anyway, but once you get over that obstacle, you realize that there's so many other people that are doing what you're doing, and the main purpose that you're here is to get an education and to get your degree. So the Muslim side of it, like there are halal foods, you do find Muslims wherever you go, and you do find people of the same mindset wherever you go. They don't necessarily have to be Muslim, but yeah, it was quite easy for me to adapt into Ukraine and in Serbia, because no matter where you go, you will find people alike you, because there's like 8 billion people in the world. So, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And finally, there's a question we've been asking everyone. The students that are worried about going abroad, you're there, you've done it, you're there now, so you're in the system there. What advice would you give those students who are thinking of going abroad, and they know that it's very competitive in their home countries? So what advice would you give them about studying at your school now?
Just do it. Like, bite the bullet and just come. It's like the first main mental obstacle is the application of actually, am I going to do this? Like, is this really going to happen? But then once you go past that, it's like, all right, I'm ready. Let's do this. And once you do that, once you get past that part, it's all right. It's smooth sailing from there, because Medlink kind of handle it all. Like, you don't really do much. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And hey, we can't also wait for your journey to unfold, and you can come back to the UK to work as a doctor. Thank you.
It's all right. Thank you.
All right. So let's go through some other questions that has been coming through. There has been so many questions that we've had. One of the questions that's being asked is, do we have any applications that are also open for February? And I'd like to bring back my colleague, Tom, to talk about pretty much the opportunities that are available for the February intake or March. Tom, are you there?
Yes. Okay. So we've got a few last minute people listening on the webinar today. There's always a few, but don't worry. Obviously, everyone has different circumstances, and we are here to do our best to help everyone we can. Now, look, it is extremely, extremely late to apply for an intake that is only a few months away. We're currently in the midst of having loads of applications, even for next September, October time on a daily basis at the moment. Now, the majority of spaces have gone, the majority of deadlines have closed, but there are still some opportunities for February, March time. We are having a lot of students inquire about it at the moment, as we do every time with the sort of last minute applications. I think the best advice we can give now is just be decisive and act fast. We can help you. Just make sure you book in an appointment with us, and we can talk about what's right for you, because what will work for some people now won't work for others. So instead of kind of giving you a generic answer now that may or may not work for you, it's best just to suggest having a call with us. And yes, there are still opportunities available for people, and yes, we can still help you to achieve that. We just need to work quite quickly. I hope that helps.
Yes, that helps. Thank you so much, Tom. Right, another question. What is the general application deadline for the European medical schools that you're linked to? And I think this will tie in also with dentistry, because there will be students here also wanting to pursue dentistry. And I'd like to invite back one of my colleagues, Osman, to talk a bit more about this.
Yeah, hello everyone. Really nice to be on the webinar and to see hundreds of students who are interested in studying abroad. Every day we are flooded with calls, with emails, with text messages. Everyone wants to learn more about it. That's why we decided to do this webinar, so all the hundreds of students who are interested, like yourselves, can join and ask all these questions. So as someone who studied abroad, specifically in Bulgaria, I studied dentistry. I want to tell you a little bit about my story, which is linked to the question. It took me a few years to apply in the UK over and over again, and I struggled to get accepted because of the ruthless competition. And I know a lot of you also suffer from the same thing, because studying at home is a little bit more competitive than studying abroad, simply because it's very competitive. A lot of people want to study, and there's always not enough spaces for the people that want to study. Like we saw earlier in the presentation, over 100,000 students want to apply to study medicine in the UK, but only 7,000 to 9,000 each year get accepted, which is a very small number. So those 90,000 students, for example, they have to settle for other courses and study biomedical science, which is what I did. I studied biomedical science as a stepping stone, only to get into then what I wanted to study, which was dentistry. I applied over and over again in the UK, and I struggled to get accepted. Then I heard about studying abroad, and I was a little bit intimidated, just like you probably are, by the idea of being away from home and just traveling 3-hour flight away, and coming from London to Bulgaria or wherever. It's always 3 to 4 hours maximum. What I did was I sat on the idea for 3 years, building up the courage to go abroad. Eventually, after 3 years, which I was very old by then, I still decided. I was, I think, 24. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So I really admire the students who have been on this webinar today, who have started their journey from 18, 19 years old. Really good, brave of you. That's the best thing you can do for your future. And every day I wish I started earlier. And I applied over and over in the UK. Every year I would struggle to get in because of the interviews. Eventually I decided, you know what, okay, it's time to go abroad. And I was applying alone. And it took a little bit longer to prepare the paperwork from what I thought. I thought it was going to be a straightforward procedure like it is in my home country. Then it required a lot of paperwork, legalizing documents, going to solicitors, to notaries, and doing translations and all that. And eventually, when I came abroad with my documents to hand them into the admission office, they told me the deadline has passed. And I was shocked by how fast everything went, because the document part was so complicated and took such a long time. So I would say never ever rely on deadlines. I made that mistake, and I would always advise you never to just rely on deadlines. You should start as early as possible. You know that you want to become a doctor. I don't think you came up with the decision overnight like this. You know that you want to become a doctor, you want to become a dentist. So might as well just start immediately with the process. Get on, start preparing, because it is a long process to apply. The application procedures are a little bit more complicated than in your home country, where you can just hand in documents and just apply. You have to verify documents, make them notarized and all that, and it does take a while. So never ever rely on deadlines. That's the biggest mistake you can do. Someone was asking earlier, what are the cons of going abroad? Is not understanding the procedure. And that's exactly why we set up this organization as a group of doctors and dentists and professionals like Edmund, Tom, Dana, and everyone else, helping thousands of students each year to support you with the process so you don't have to go through it alone, because we know it's complicated. And also it's complicated to go to, abroad, to a foreign country that you've never set foot in, a foreign language that you've never spoken before. So there are a lot of bureaucracies here and there, but that's what we're there for, to streamline this process so you can just submit your documents and we'll take care of the rest, and you just show up at the university and start studying. So even if the deadline is tomorrow or next year or the year after that, be careful of that. You should just get on with the process, apply as fast as you can. Most of the universities, their deadlines for, let's say, September intake is around May, June, July. Only very few are accepting late applications like September. And the earlier you apply, the more options you'll have always, and the more doors you'll have. So you can get to choose, instead of the university being chosen for you, you get to choose which university you want to, because all the doors are open. So that's the most intelligent and smart thing to do, to apply as fast as you can, get on with the process. You know you're going to become a doctor, so might as well not postpone it or do it as late as possible. I know maybe you're a little bit scared or hesitant, so you try to put off the process as much as you can until you have to make a decision. And a lot of students contact us on results day, which is very late in the year, in the summer. And then they don't have so many options. So it's really, right now, you're very lucky because you have a lot of choices available for you, and you should take full advantage of it and not wait until June, July when the deadlines are then. So you can have the maximum and best possible potential and the best possible outcome of getting the university that you want. Okay, back to you, Edmund.
Thank you so much, Osman. Whilst you were talking, actually, there's been a few questions that have been typed up for you. People want to know which university you studied in and what specific experience you had.
That's a really good question. So I studied in Varna University in Bulgaria. When I went there, I liked the idea that it was a small city. I'm not a kind of big city kind of person, because I like to walk to places as fast as possible and get to where I want without waiting half an hour for a taxi or a bus. You just walk everywhere. And this is a really good thing to consider. I never considered this until I went abroad and checked out the university before I applied there. So it's something important to consider, and that's where our advisors will come in. They will tell you of things to consider that you never thought of considering, because probably you've never moved out, you've never lived alone, you've never moved to another country. So there's a lot of factors to consider always when choosing a university to make it suitable for you, because yeah, great that the university is recognized and great and really good at teaching and all that, but also you want to have a good time as well. These are going to be these 5-6 years, however long your course is. These are going to be the best time, the best moments and best time of your life. This is the time where I enjoyed studying. I enjoyed it so much because firstly, I was studying what I love, and that's what you will enjoy as well. You know, no one enjoys high school where you have to study subjects that you don't want to study, that you're not passionate about. Let's say physics, for example, you know, it's not so relevant for medicine, or maths. Yeah, it kind of is relevant, but not so relevant that you have to score an A in physics and maths and be a genius in physics, or no quantum physics, you know. You're studying something you're passionate about. You're seeing patients every day. Patients are coming to you, your own family is coming to you, asking you questions. You feel like a doctor. And alongside this, you're also meeting international students from every corner of the planet. You would be so surprised how popular it is to study medicine abroad. It wasn't so popular many years ago. About 10 years ago, it wasn't so popular. Very few students knew about it. However, we set up this organization to open up the pathway and inform you of such an amazing opportunity that's available abroad that you can take full advantage of and then come back home to practice as a doctor. So you'll meet lots of people from everywhere. I have friends from China, Canada, USA. You know, every campus I set foot in, I barely hear the language of the country anymore because the locals are speaking in English, trying to communicate with the international students. International students are speaking with each other. We have students from so many countries every year approach us, and we help so many people from every corner of this planet to come and study in Europe. It's a very international community. You'll have friends from every corner of the planet. It's amazing. It's such a great experience. It's so enriching. It opens your eyes and you become independent, and you become as an individual, you become an adult so fast. You can do things on your own. You can survive situations on your own. And you come back to your country and you can pay yourself with a normal doctor who studied in the UK or in your country, wherever you're from. And you'd be surprised how much more mature, independent you are, problem solving you are, because you've been in for 6 years, you've been in a country that you've never been in before. So you become naturally a problem solver. You become so grown up so fast, and it's great.
So much, Osman, for that and sharing your experience. I'm sure you're very happy to be back and working now. Thank you. Now, another question that we're getting asked is, are there universities in France, for example, that teach in English? And we get asked this quite a lot as well. So I'd like to invite my colleague, Dana, to help answer this question.
Thank you, Edmund. That's right. I also get asked this a lot. Many students come and ask us about Western Europe opportunities because they don't see them on our website. They see that we have more Eastern Europe on our website. And the reason is because Western Europe doesn't focus a lot on the English program. They focus more on their local programs. Like, for example, Germany, France, Netherlands, Spain. They don't have English courses, especially France. It's purely French. Eastern Europe has been focusing more on the English programs. And as my colleague Osman said, I mean, we opened this company to enlighten you about these amazing opportunities you have, because Eastern Europe has been doing medicine for a very long time in English language. So they are very well established programs. Western Europe doesn't focus as much as Eastern Europe for the English programs. So France doesn't have English, or Germany or Netherlands or these countries. And once they do have, you will definitely find them on our website. Back to you, Edmund.
Yes, while I still have you, Dana, there are also some other questions that are being asked as well about if we actually help with support in traveling to and from during the year. So I suppose on-ground support, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think what the student asking this question means if we help the relocating from one country to another. Especially a lot of students are concerned about going to a country they don't speak the language, they don't know anyone there. They have this they see it as a big step, and it is a big step. It just needs a little bit of courage, and we will have one of our team meeting them at the airport when they arrive, taking them for a tour around the city, around the campus, introducing them to our team over there. And of course, we're talking about introducing them to medical students who've been in their situation before. They understand how it feels when you go to a new country where you don't speak the language, you don't know anyone there. They'll be like a second family for each other. So yes, we do offer full support. We help you find your apartment, open a new bank account, on all the tiny details. And we're talking about students helping students. And we also have a team, and each student has an advisor. We'll always be with you every step of the way. So we just need you to build the courage to go abroad, and we will be with you every step of the way. I hope that answers the question, Edmund.
Yes, thank you so much, Dana. Let's move on to another question. So another question that's been asked is, what is like, and this is specifically actually for Zara in Serbia. They're asking what it's like for you as a woman studying in Serbia. Is it safe? Are women respected there? In your experience?
Well, in my experience, I've actually not had any sort of, no one's ever like disrespected me. I think because the culture here is quite respectable. I've noticed, especially in university, the guys do tend like because we have class with Serbian guys, which is it benefits us when we go into practicals because they can translate with the patients. But the Serbian guys here, they're quite friendly. They're quite nice, and they're aware that we are foreigners and we're not used to their customs. They're very nice to us. And in the streets, they understand that obviously we're foreigners, and they don't look at us and like, oh, go back to your country or anything like that. They're quite like, oh, they'll take their time, they'll try and speak English with us. And I've walked late before, coming back from the gym, or like right now, like it's quite dark, and I had practicals, and it ran over, and it was late, and everyone kind of I felt safe. I don't feel fear when I walk out at night, and I know it's very common for girls to feel that type of way, especially like I grew up in London, so like I wouldn't go out like late at night in London, but like it feels safer to be here. I don't know, it's like a personal preference, I guess. I don't feel fear I guess.
Yeah, and thank you for that reassurance, because also when we talk to parents, as a lot of you guys are saying, you're leaving your support system, and so leaving that and going somewhere else and studying there becomes very frightening for most students. So thank you for sharing that with us. Another question that we're being asked is for someone who's asking, when we come back, how do we get registered with the GMC? Great question. So there are two pathways. Currently, if you study in the European Union, when you come back, you complete the GMC has what they call the automatic recognition of degree. So you just complete an English test, and then you can register with the GMC, and then you start working. And then there is the other pathway, which if you study outside the European Union, you come back to the UK, you sit an English test, and then you do a licensing test called PLAB. Now, this is to see whether you've got the competencies and skills of a doctor. Now, this is all changing. From 2024, the General Medical Council are replacing the PLAB test with a new one, and they're calling that the MLA, which stands for Medical Licensing Assessment. Now, what's the difference? The difference between this test is that this time they will include all graduates. So students or graduates from European Union schools, and graduates from non-European Union schools, and British graduates will also be required to sit this. Now, the GMC have been wanting to introduce this for a very long time, I think since 2012. And this has been pushed back a few years now. So from 2024 to 25, they will be introducing this. And the whole purpose of this is to create a common threshold for safe practice. They want everyone to have the same kind of level when treating patients safely in the UK. Now, the background of it will be the same as the PLAB test, which you'll have the multiple choice question, which is to test your general knowledge as a doctor. And then the second part being the practical, so scenario based. So as long as you pass your degree, you have nothing to worry about at all. This is just a licensing test to see whether you've got the competencies of practicing as a doctor in the UK. All right, so let's have a look at other questions. There's another one. As an international student who's not coming from the UK, is there a chance of you being able to work as a foundation year doctor in the UK after obtaining a license abroad? Absolutely. In fact, the UK is very welcoming to international doctors. Just last year, they had to take on 10,000 extra doctors from non-European countries just to come and work here because of the shortage of doctors that we have in the UK. In the UK, we have over 1 million British doctors. Aside to that, we have over 30,000 Indian doctors who are working here. And these Indian doctors, they studied in non-EU countries, in India and other countries, and they came here just to work. So the UK is very, very welcoming to that. As long as you come back with your knowledge, you're able to sit the licensing test, you'll be absolutely fine to work here. Now, let's have a look at other questions. All right. What other questions have we been receiving? All right, let's go through them now. So many questions are coming. Another question is, how many universities are registered with the GMC? And I mean, we've worked with a lot of European schools, especially from Romania. And one of the founding members actually studied there. So pretty much all the universities there meet the criteria of acceptance coming back to the GMC. This is what we do for you. We do all the hard work so that you don't have to. We research the universities all across Europe. So we will tell you where you can practice. We will tell you where people have perhaps gone to. And if you wanted to come back to UK, we'll find a suitable university in Romania, as you're asking, and also tell you the rules and requirements of you coming back. As long as you meet that requirement, you're absolutely fine to register. What other questions are there? Okay. Another person is asking, what is the process of registering in Ireland following studying of EU? So the process of registering in Ireland, well, registering with the Irish Medical Council is the same as other EU countries. Because there are EU to EU laws, it means that when you come back, you register. There are no exams that you have to do at current. And then you can do 1 year of your internship. This is something we can talk a bit more in depth with you. So make sure to inquire so we can go through kind of the processes. But as it stands now, applying in Europe, in studying in Europe and coming back to Ireland, you don't need to really do any licensing exam. All right, let's go through them. Where are we? Okay, this is another great question. Can you decide not to take language classes? And I want to invite one of the students who's studying there just to talk about their experiences of studying abroad. So let me see if is Shinga still with us? Actually, I'll bring back Fauzan. Fauzan, currently, are you learning the language? And is it something that has been mandatory for you to learn?
So in my experience from speaking to some of the younger students in Niche, for example, first and second years, there is language classes. However, they are optional. They're not mandatory. However, when I was in Ukraine, in my first 2 years, there was Ukrainian language. So I'm just trying to, gather up from like general medical schools. I'm guessing some of them make them mandatory and some of them make them optional to attend. But at the end of the day, whether it's mandatory or optional, you have to think about it in this perspective. You will be spending the next few years in that country, finishing off your degree. So I mean, why not? At the end of the day, it's another language, it's another skill that you're going to take with you for the rest of your life. And at the same time, it's just going to make your journey a lot more easier. So whether it's mandatory or it's optional, I would suggest that, attend the language classes because, the more language you can pick up, the easier it will be for any tough situations that you might come across in future going forward because, at least you can communicate properly or to a certain extent where somebody can understand you. So in my opinion, I think it is beneficial to go to them. However, not all universities make it mandatory. So it probably just depends on which university you go to and also which year you are in.
Fantastic. So are we expecting you to be fluent in Serbian by the time you come back, right?
I mean, I'm trying. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very lucky and blessed for the fact that Niš, the city that I am in, I would say 97, 96% of people, they speak English. So I can get a bit lazy, I'm kind of in my comfort zone that, I've got people around me speaking English. I don't really have to learn Serbian. But at the same time, look, it is useful to learn because For example, in many hospital placements, as you know, going into a hospital environment, a lot of the patients are elderly, you know, they'll be in their 70s, 80s, and the older generation won't know as much English as the, you know, the 40s, 50s, 30s, 20s. So obviously, the more back you go, the more people will speak English. But I mean, when going and speaking to patients that are 70, 80 years old, some of them can't, you know, speak English, and you have to communicate with them in Serbian. So for now, we do have, you know, junior doctors and professors that are translating for us. However, yes, it is beneficial to learn the language, or at least, you know, some sort of communication that you can, you know, speak to them, check up on them, see how they're doing, and you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, it is beneficial, and it's something that I am trying to do. I'm trying to speak with my friends that are Serbian in Serbian, and getting them to teach me a few phrases and, you know, any useful things that, you know, I can take with me and kind of use in many different situations. So yeah, I would suggest that it is very important to learn the language, especially if you're going to be there for the next few years.
And it's amazing to see that you're taking the initiative as well to actually even get people to help you. And these are some of the great qualities that you learn, and it becomes great for you as a doctor, because you're now learning how to deal with different types of patients. So learning a language is great, because when you come back to the UK, any hospital you start practicing in, you can work with any patient, because you've experienced the different types of patients that, you know, you got used to. So yeah, it's great that you're doing that.
Exactly. No worries.
Thank you. So I'm sorry to say that we are really at the end of the webinar. We won't be able to really cover all of the questions. There's been so many. We're still answering some of them, and we would love to, but we have something else for you. Really, to continue with the free personal Q&A sessions with really one of the experts and advisors. And really, the point of it is to answer your questions, perhaps sit on a call with your parents, a video call, whatever that might be, because I'm sure a lot of you still have some more questions, and we want to go through that with you. So what you could simply do is fill in your details, or you can scan the QR code with the link. And keep in mind is that the QR code is available for the webinar. So as long as you're able to do that, fill in your details, we should be able to book a call. Get in touch with us. You know, this is basically from January to December. This is all we do. Our whole purpose is to help you find the right options out there. You know, and there is a perfect university for each and every single one of you. For some of you guys that have just joined us for the very first time, we're here to help you find the right option. Perhaps you just want to speak to us as a backup option. We're here to also do that for you. And also the ones that have been pretty much with us throughout the journey. We have some students that have been following us for a few years and still not made their mind up. Let us have another chat. Perhaps look at some other options that might be suitable for you. And so I'd like to invite back, I know my colleague Osman, who, you know, has graduated now, is working to tell us a bit more about the advice that he has for pretty much everyone of you that's watching, and whether he would let people come and study in Varna or in Bulgaria for that matter, and any advice that he has for all the students tonight. Osman.
Yeah, thank you, Edmund. Wow, great to see everyone's experiences and our students sharing their stories. I hope that was encouraging for a lot of you. Really nice to see hundreds of students joining us today on this webinar. Thank you all for joining and listening to us. We're really excited to help you. My final words of advice is definitely consider this option. I really wish I considered it many, many years ago. That I used to listen to a lot of negativity out there, even from my own family. My parents used to tell me, no, don't go abroad, study in the UK. The UK is famous for its education and all that and all this. But you know what? If it was so bad, why is it that the UK has 50% of its doctors and dentists, almost 50%, are foreign trained doctors and dentists from India, Nigeria, Pakistan? many corners of the world, including Europe as well. I would say consider this option, think about it heavily, talk to an advisor, talk to one of our team, Edmund, Tom, Dana, or whoever is there to talk to you. We're really excited always to share this opportunity and share all the knowledge, including the positives and the negatives as well. I know you'll hear a lot of negatives. You will hear, like Edmund was saying earlier, there's a million reasons not to do something. And if you allow this negativity to consume you, then only you will suffer, not the person who's affecting you with this negativity and telling you, oh, don't go there, don't do this, don't do that, do this. Everyone in this day and age has an opinion on everything. Unfortunately, we're in this time. So a lot of people will tell you their opinions, but it's all about you. Think about yourself. Are you determined enough to become a doctor or a dentist? Are you hungry enough to travel and go abroad to do it, whether it's 3 hours, 4 hours journey on the flight? Because I'm sure anyone who's genuinely passionate about becoming a doctor and then returning back home would not be fazed by this. They would see it as just a stepping stone. There's the opportunity, it's available for you, the pathway, the route is out there. A lot of people have done it. Thousands of students have done it. Even if I could do it, and I tell you, I was scared as hell. It took me 3 years to build up that courage. And all these other students on the webinar today who have been so great, talking about their experience as well. If they could do it, if I could do it, so can you. Don't be fazed, don't be scared about it. Be brave, because this will be the best thing that you will do. Trust me on this. You take the right decision, you take the right advice, and go for it. Do the proper traditional way of studying medicine. Start from year 1, finish in year 6, and then graduate. Our team will help you with coming back to the UK and settling in, and or whatever country you come from, America, Canada, Ireland, Australia, and so many other countries that students are today from. We're going to help you. We're going to support you. We are passionate about this, and you will see we even reply day, night, whatever. We're always trying to help students as much as we can, to support you, to give you all the advice, all the information, so you can make the best and most informed decision on your future. And we're really excited always to do this. That's what keeps us going. That's what keeps us motivated. Every year we see graduates who we helped many years ago to come abroad. We help them with coming back to their country, and it's the best feeling ever for us and for them as well, and for their families as well. Once you become a doctor, you make yourself proud, you make your community proud, you make your own family proud, but do it at the end of the day for you, because this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Take full advantage of it, and you will not regret it one moment. Just be brave and go for it. All right. Thank you, Edmund.
Thank you so much, Osman. And really, we want to thank every single one of the students who joined us tonight and shared their experience with us. And you've really, truly inspired me. You inspired a lot of the students that are watching tonight as well to really take the courage and go abroad to study and pursue the dream that you've always wanted. Because remember, in 5 to 6 years' time, you will still either become a doctor or a dentist, or still be looking at applying. So the question is, what is it going to be? And let us at least have some options that we can discuss with you. And we'd like to thank you guys who have joined us from every part of the world tonight. We've really, truly enjoyed having you guys join us. And we want to wish you guys a happy holidays. And hey, we'll see you guys in the new year, perhaps in Europe. For those of you who are joining us in February, March, we can't wait to welcome you. And for you, the guys that have be joining us in October, hey, we can't wait to meet you and welcome you and meet your families. And then you become part of our Medlink Students family. So we can't wait to support you. We can't wait to also speak to you about the options that you have available to you. So have a wonderful evening. Happy holidays, everyone. And we'll see you on the next one.